Hello, welcome to Simplify's first look at SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. I'm Eric Blondin, and I'll be accompanying you through this first look at what SAP Data Warehouse Cloud can actually do to help us organize data for planning or even reporting and tracking your KPIs. If this is a subject that really interests you, I really encourage you to come and watch our webinar on June 18th, when I'm going to talk a bit more in depth about the differences between BW4 HANA, standard data, SQL data warehousing on HANA, and SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. But for now, let's have a quick look at what the Data Warehouse Cloud can do for us. This is the entry screen when you come in. So you see you can create spaces that can be by teams, by groups, even for certain users. And then from then on, you start building your data and finally creating stories. Stories are based on the SAP Analytics Cloud solution that is already quite used on the market today. So we will really concentrate today, right now, on creating a space where I'm going to be able to work and building a basic data model from which I can actually build some reporting. So for data models, I first need a space to be created. I did that before, simplify space. So this is where you can allocate space to, once again, a team, a user, and then that user can start building their data models. There's security in there, obviously, but we won't go through that today. Once you have your space and you have granted access to a user, you can start creating connections. Here we have two connections that were created. One is on a HANA database, the other one on a generic OData connection. You can create a few other ones that will go and access data from Data Warehouse Cloud, importing it into. So from ABAP, that would be BW, for example, a BEC score you go and get. HANA, this is a SAP database. SQL Server, OData, which is quite widespread, and Oracle database. So these are the basic connectors that are available out of the box in SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. If you have something else, or you like the use of a standard ETLs, there's quite a few of them on the market. Data Warehouse Cloud actually supports OpenSQL as well. So what is OpenSQL? It's just open standard for SQL on any database. So once you create your SQL schema, anyone to whom I give a user password can access it, read it with a third-party tool, does not need to be an SAP solution, does not need very specific drivers. It uses OpenSQL drivers. And you can also use your ETL solution to load data into the data model you've created through the same OpenSQL standard. So a very open solution that really opens you to all the options you can imagine for organizing your data into a data warehouse. Once you have this, this is where you can now start creating your data model. Right now I have nothing. I couldn't manually create tables. So when I create a table this way, I just create the fields. I could just import a CSV file. So import the file, it's going to create a table with all those fields in there, or load that CSV file in an existing table. I could create a view. I could create a SQL view. Obviously, these two, I need tables to create them. So the first thing we're going to do is get tables and organize our entity relationship model. So for this, come in this window here. Here I'd have access to all the tables that are already modeled, none of them for now. So you see, you remember that's the name of my OpenSQL schema. So this is where all the tables can be accessed from outside. So here I have my two connections. So through Northwind, this is a standard demo database that's on the web. It's been used for ages, and you have access to those. You can bring in those tables into Data Warehouse Cloud. Right now I'm going to use my HANA database to access some demo information. So I have different users. The user I want to use for my table is here. And so I can now start building my entity relationship diagram. What I'm actually going to do, I'm going to keep it simple. For example, today, I'm going to bring in my sales order items. So I can change the name, obviously, if it's something else I want to do with. It's not because the source system has a name that's the one I want to use. I'm going to bring my products because I want to do some product analysis. And obviously, I'm going to bring some text. It's always easier to have a product descriptions, so I'm going to keep that name. Once I have those tables, I'm in an entity relationship diagram, so I'm going to create relationships. So product text has product ID linked to product ID. So I'm just going to link it here. So in demos like this, it's always easy because they have the same names. But let's say the two fields do not have the same name, you can come here and manually change the links. I'm not going to do anything here to the right, but this is really where you could come and modify it so that you get exactly what you want. And then you have your sales order ID, your sales order item, sorry, and you link it to your product. Again, product ID, product ID. So we do not need to come and change this here. So very basic view, basic model, sorry. So I'm going to call it my sales model. And this is what we're going to be using to create the view in our next step. So I'm going to save it. Once I've saved it, it's going to reuse the name I already gave it to the right here. And I'm going to deploy it, which is really just going to actually physically create the tables in Data Warehouse Cloud. What's interesting here is I'm going to keep on working right now, and those tables I just brought in, products, product text, sales order items, these three tables are still available remotely. They are not in Data Warehouse Cloud itself. So every time it's going to read, it's actually going to read the table that's still on my HANA database. In my case here, let's say I want to keep the sales order items on Data Warehouse Cloud. So I'm going to refresh it only once. I could set it up for real-time replication, so it's always going to get the changes with a small delay. Here I'm just going to import it once. So it's reading the database, the table on the HANA database, importing everything, and then now that table has just been imported and is using some of the space that was made available for me. The two master data tables, I'll keep them there. I won't bring them over. So anytime there are changes to master data, I don't even need to bother syncing them up. It's going to be there. So I have my model here. Sorry, I did not want to click. So I have my model here. And now I'm going to create my new SQL view. I could create my SQL view with typing SQL script. That's what this one is. So you like typing select products from table products where this and that. This is really the window you'll be able to use, because here, literally, you type in your select statement. So if that's what you're comfortable with, and also if you do a lot of reuse where you copy some of your views from left and right, this is actually quite useful because copy paste is very simple. You can keep your SQL in a file. Or you can use a graphical view if you're not really comfortable with SQL. You come here and you can have a look at repository, sorry. So I can have a look at what I have here. So I know I'm going to put sales order items, automatically creates my view. I know I want products, joining it automatically. It does inner join, could be changed, but it knows what the join is because we already defined it in the entity relationship diagram. And now I'm going to bring the text. So by default, it knows it's a join, so it's going to join it here. And once again, I have product and product text that are joined together. Here, we could select what fields we want to see. Here, I could hide some fields. Here, it joins the two. These are the fields we want to use. And finally, you get into your view, where we could technically create some calculations as well. We will not today, but we may in a future video I may publish. So sales view, I save it. Save. And deploy. So this is going to be, did I say deploy? Deploying. So now it's deployed and it's available for any reporting tool. Something I did not show while I was doing this actually, and I kind of forgot, is while you're looking at it, you're always able to go and quickly have a look at the data that's behind every tables you're looking at. So here you can even have a look at the data in your final view. and you have all of this available. And when you come back, you can see your view, you can see your model, your tables. Obviously, these are organized as well. So as you get more and you want to get them organized, you'll be able to have a look at them here. So hope you appreciated this. I'm planning on doing future webinars and videos where we're going to talk a bit more how SAP Data Warehouse Cloud can really enhance your experience as a data analyst. Do you really need IT to be involved? Can it give some independence to departments building their own small ad hoc analysis, while at the same time maintaining a standardized central data warehouse? So let's talk about that in a future video. Until then, come and watch us on June 18th as we talk about the data warehouse ecosystem at SAP and where we think it's going as well. Thank you for listening. Talk to you soon.